What's up, everybody? It's Sonel C. So we just went through UFC 301, and I kind of want to discuss something that's been very interesting. That's kind of been brewing because of this event. It's kind of all started around UFC 300, to be honest. So this whole thing involving Anthony Smith and Alex Pereira started with the commentary, kind of his pre-analysis of really bad takes about Alex Pereira. One of those being his obvious one-dimensionist, but then there was things saying like Jamal Hill was a better striker, harder hitter, all these other silly, nonsensical things that
needs to do, Anthony, to retain this title against Jamal Hill?
Well, he needs to be a little bit more unpredictable. I think one of his strengths is that he is so good at a couple things. He's very basic. I'm not saying that it's simple or what he does is easy, but it's very basic. You can break it down. It's straight punches, it's left hooks, and it's nasty leg kicks. He's going to have to move his head off the center line a little bit more than he typically does because, in my opinion, I think Jamal Hill matches him in the power.
It makes you wonder if he really should be a common commentator, and honestly, it's my hot take that the man was only given a color commentator kind of role was because he didn't pull Aljo from a knee when John Jones almost lost his belt by DQ, and the fact that Smith did not plead through that and fought through a decision which he lost, I think that's the only reason he's been gifted that. Anyway, back to the point though. The aging 35-year-old Anthony Smith, I know, ironically considering Pereira, I believe, is older by a year, but, mileage and all that stuff. But anyway, point being, this kind of feud kind of started off around after UFC 300 where, Pereira had his words to say about Anthony Smith, and towards the lead up towards his own fight, put as much of a challenge on him. There was like a 50K challenge he mentioned in submission of if he lets him go on his back or some sort of thing like that, if he can get out of the hold starting from there, he gets 50K. If he can submit him or he's unable to get out, then he'd get the 50K. It's a very interesting little wager, and Smith more or less answered one of those things on there. Now, before I get to that, there was a clip going around UFC 301 when everyone in the crowd was watching Anthony Smith get introduced. This was Alex Pereira, basically. Or should I do it like this? And it was kind of insulting, but kind of funny too. I mean, hey, shows the man has personality. And it's kind of funny, even though the language barrier is a thing. But no, as you all know, Petrino pulled. Well, he didn't pull anything. He got into a guillotine choke, and he could not get out of it, and he got choked out. And more or less, Anthony Smith has been barking a tree, and you know what? I will give him credit right now. He even said, "Listen, I guess my title aspirations aren't done yet." When he won that, and he got 50K bonus during that time. I think this is a smart move by Anthony Smith because, let's be honest, Lionheart ain't going to get any younger and he's not getting that much better in his fighting skills at this point. But being how subpar the light heavyweight division is as a whole, if they need someone for a quick turnaround, rebound, whatever you want to call it, or they can't get Yuri and Jamal Hill's out of the way, and Ankalaev because of his stupid demands wanting everything in Muslim country, basically. Give him Anthony Smith, possibly. That could be fun. There's a small feud going on between the two. Smith's claim is not critical. He has no beef against them, even though his words kind of made it sound like the idea of the black belt was fraudulent. But don't get me wrong, I do think knocking someone out and getting a black belt is a weird thing. It sets a really bad precedence of things. But this was from Glover Teixeira, someone who beat the living hell out of Anthony Smith on the ground. So if anyone would know if he has the talents or not to have a black belt, it would be him. But as of right now, I think the chances of this fight happening lukewarm. I think if Smith can get a win in like the maybe top 5. If he can beat someone in the top 5, unfortunately, most of the people in the top 5, other than Jamal Hill, I think he's lost to almost every single person on that list, other than Yuri Prohaska. Yeah, I think the only ones he lost the ring. Roundtree's right up climbing in the corner, so he's already lost to him. He's lost badly to Rakic. He lost to Jan Rakovic, I believe. And I know he hasn't fought Jamal Hill, but I know we know he hasn't fought the upper echelon in a while. He fought the last generation of them, he's still sticking around. So if you ask me, when we seen Glover come back in his 40s getting a belt, I'm not saying it's impossible for Smith, especially with how the division is right now and the suspect stuff about Alex Pereira. I think it's all possible. The only problem I run into is everybody wants to damn fight this man on the feet. Listen, people, this is my triggered warning. Stop. For God's sake, stop going into a head-on collision, hand-to-hand combat, straight up boxing, Muay Thai, kickboxing, whatever you want to call it. Stop fighting this man traditionally. Use grappling, use clinching, use whatever you got to use to beat this man. But do not do an engagement with a guy who's a glory kickboxer with 2 titles. Seriously. It makes all you look retarded. All of you. And I'll use the hard R for that, because that is what you are if you decide to fight this man hand-to-hand combat, fist-to-fist, without any mix-up of your strategies. But other than that, I hope this fight does happen at some point, because you know what? Give him one more shot. It couldn't hurt. The worst case scenario, he gets the belt, he loses the right. Best case scenario, and I know I sound like a hater, it's fine. You saw my last video with the graphics and stuff. I want this man to get KO'd. Get humbled. You're not that great. But for now, I can say this though. We got some fun storylines going on in the light heavyweight division, and I'm hoping with that and the UFC events coming up, we're going to see some more. But for now, that is all. You can see my glorious belts is on the champ, motherfuckers. And I will bid you farewell.